Okay, we'll call the Tree Advisory Committee to order at 4:04. We don't have a quorum, so we're not going to be able to make formal decisions, but we can have some discussion. So we're going to have a very short meeting. So did you want me to go through the agenda or just kind of discuss the key things that you want, since we can't really kind of do things formally, Anna?
I guess just discuss the two items. That's all we can really do.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, why don't we just go ahead and hop to the tree planting plan then, since that was the key item.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bid tab. That's what we got. I put it together starting in November. We put it out to bid in January, had it out on Quest, which is, municipal bidding software. We also emailed it to people who have bid in the past. We advertised it in the paper, and those are the 6 bids that we got. Lowest being SRB Trees, who we have worked with before, and he did fine.
Oh, Craig joined us.
Oh, good.
Is that
accurate? I was muted. Yeah, sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
How many do we need for a quorum? We're still short, aren't we?
Oh boy, yeah, this is a small.
We have Brindy. She's in the chambers, but otherwise so that's just 3 of us and Anna. How many do we need for a quorum?
I think one more.
Okay. Okay, well, maybe somebody will join us and surprise us.
Busy time of year, I guess.
It is, yeah.
Well, we just, since we didn't have a quorum, we were kind of just jumping straight to the tree planting plan and looking at it. If we do get a quorum, we can, kind of go back and approve minutes and be a little more formal, but we thought we would just discuss things, since she'll, without the committee's blessing or not, she still has to go ahead with the decision on ordering, following through with the bid and ordering the trees and so forth. So what did you want to discuss with these? Is there a discussion? There were 6 bids, and they really vary quite a lot in price. 3 at the low end were similar in pricing. My only question was there any reason to pick the lowest? Is there any reason not to pick them and go with the others that had just a little bit more cost, or are they all comparable?
They're kind of the same. We've worked with all those people in the past. I have, and it's not, there's, they all do a great job, and so we put the referral together for the lowest bid, and it went to council, and Gabrielle is the one that referred it back to TAC. So it would be nice if she was here, but it sounds like she's probably busy with the interviews for the city administrator. But at any rate, so that's the process, is that it got referred back, and so that's the bid tab. In the what the referral was put together was for SRB Trees. So the vote would be to give SRB Trees the bid.
Yeah.
And I guess we can discuss more if we get a quorum here, but if that's what the bid is for, I don't see any, unless you have a strong feeling, I don't see any reason to fight for one of the more expensive ones. If there was this Dan Larson maybe is a much better company and we've had better quality from them, that these are pretty close in cost, but
he is really close. The one thing about SRB Trees is that they grow more trees than Dan does. So Mark, the owner of SRB Trees, is actually digging more of these trees from his own nursery, whereas Dan is procuring them. I know where he gets them, but that's one slight difference that kind of actually is in favor of Mark in some ways. And yeah, so, and like I said, we've used the lowest 3 bidders in the past, and they've all done an excellent job.
Okay.
Since we aren't in official meeting territory yet, I can ask, does SRB sell to just individuals too? I'm looking and need to get a
I'm
couple
sure he
new
does.
businesses here.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. I don't know what his like retail operation is like because I've only worked with him on a wholesale situation. Um, but I would guess that he does.
Good to know. Yeah, gotta pick out a couple to get in the ground, hopefully fairly soon, depending on the timing. But really should have done them last year. So.
And how is it, Anna, how do you decide on which trees to select? You know, by the variety
Well, I mean,
you have here?
well, I put together the plan and it's a boriculture. It's what tree's going to do best in what particular place. And I put it all together and we put it out to bid. So it's a process for sure.
Yeah, it seems the brief little spreadsheet image doesn't quite give weight to how much effort went into deciding all of these things. So.
No, not even close. I mean, because it's a pretty big, we have diverse planting sites across the city. Some of these trees, a few of them are going to tree pits. We've got Quarry Vista, which was a quarry. And so that's always an interesting challenge from a tree planting perspective. And then all the way out to just, we have a lot of ash placements in, across the city, and also, new developments where the soil is some better than others. So there's a lot of variety across the city in terms of what tree's going to do well where.
And if we don't get quorum today, this is just your default probably is to go with SRB since that's the approved one. And
I hope we continue and we can work the referral process through council because I can't really wait. I'd like to start next week or the week after if we can. I guess the council's meeting on the 13th, and so we can't really hold up until the TAC May meeting. Mm-hmm. So I think hopefully it just bypasses this process or this step.
Yeah, I don't really quite know the governmental rules there. So.
Yeah, I mean, because it's called what's a referral, so it has to go through a variety of committee meetings and get voted on before we can spend the money. So I think it has to go to finance and it has to go to council. So at any rate, well, why don't we talk about tree protection ordinance then? There's not a really do with the tree planting plan because we can't really vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
is this the sheet that you sent out separately, outlining the intent, purpose, and application, or is it looking at the notes that we had in the minutes? The goals, scope,
well,
and
both, I guess. I guess Craig was nice enough to go to Park Commission and present, the tree preservation ordinance, and so we were going to get a report on that from him, and we also do need to do intent, purpose, and scope, or application, intent, purpose, and application, and so I put that together for point of discussion. But if we talk about it at the next meeting, that's fine too. But it might be nice just to hear how things went at Park Commission.
Yeah, I would say decidedly mixed. The general tone that I got, the feeling that I got is a lot of like, well, what do you want us to do about it? And I tried to explain like, we're going to be doing something about it. What we're doing here is just trying to get your opinion on kind of our goals and our kind of definition sheet that I brought to them. And I think there was maybe some general negativity to the idea of needing one at all, but I did. Mm-hmm. I think it was mixed. So there was at least maybe half of the group there who really understood the goal, and then one person who's kind of just flat out against the whole thing, but also it said he was a developer, so for him I think it's maybe a little bit personal as well, where it's it's kind of going to be involved with his direct business. And then there was a little bit of pushback on, I guess, the Parks Commission seemed to think that there's already all the mechanisms in place, or at least a couple of the people there, that we already have everything that comes into the goals we laid out in our document. And I don't think that's really true, but I also wasn't quite able to defend it as well as I might have liked to, because I'm not an expert on the actual functioning of this. So one of their ideas,
what specific? Oh, go
yeah, so
ahead.
one of their things was that they said, that in the planning process, this could happen, but doesn't really right now. So one of their thoughts was maybe just having it be kind of an informal, they run things past you, or to the tree advisory committee, maybe. And that's probably not realistic, but to you, Anna, as a kind of as an optional step almost, where it's like, okay, we already have the ability to do this, so let's just go with what we have as a kind of already review and approval step. And there was some pushback from people on the committee as well as myself saying, well, there's a difference between having we do this because we feel like it's the nice thing to do, and having an actual ordinance or a kind of more, there's no teeth in that, I guess, was the
Right.
pushback we got, where it's like, anyway, sorry, go on. I'm talking too much,
Well,
rambling.
and that happens. I mean, that it used to actually happen more than it has recently, but that used to happen frequently. And like you say, there's no teeth, and I can recommend, hey, why don't we use these trees that do this?
You're breaking up a little bit there, Anna.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I have crappy internet. But at any rate, so that used to happen a lot, but it is, it's there's no teeth to it. And I can say like, hey, if you want to preserve these trees, let's talk about that. But if it doesn't fit to the bigger plan, it doesn't happen. If that makes sense.
That's what I think we tried to say back. If it's, some staff have a policy where they ask you and then get your opinion, that's not what we're trying to do here. I don't think,
Right.
That's not what our goal as the tree advisory committee is. Our goal is to give it more of a, no, it's not the staff's choice. All of these things will eventually, you'll get a chance to weigh in. And obviously it's not going to be, you're the be all end all decision maker regarding every tree there, but we want to have something that's more formal, so that, if they change over who gets to review these plans, that it still has to go to you. And if you leave, then it still has to go to the person in your job. We don't want it to be
Right.
something that's just like a ad hoc because we feel like it's the right thing to do at the time. We want it to be more permanent. So I did, I think and I'm gonna forget the name. I wonder if I have it written down. The head of the Parks Commission, or the person who's kind of running the meeting.
Mark Vivian? Mark Vivian is the chair of Park Commission.
That was him. So I got a little flustered at the end because he kept on saying, well, come to me when you have like a set of goals. And I said, we have a set of goals. It's in your packet. I explicitly have a list of goals. That's what I'm here for. And I got a little frustrated because he said it about 4 times. Just kept on saying, like, well, come to us when you have some goals. I don't know how to say this any other way. We have goals. These are the goals. What we want is your opinion on the goals, not, on whether. So I hope I didn't come off too negative at the end there, because I just got a little bit like, I don't know what else to say. I was saying it and saying it, And then, of course, and I did bring up to the point, a few people said, well, why do we really need anything like this? And I said, well, our comprehensive plan 10 years ago, our comprehensive plan now shows that we do want to preserve trees, and we have this as a formalized part of our rulemaking for a long time now. And so it's not, oh, these crazy tree people over here trying to do something. It's a defined part of what our goals are as a community. So, and then I got some very nice comments about that as well. So I don't want to make it seem like everybody at the Parks Commission is against this idea. I think there's just a couple vocal people who were pretty skeptical, I guess. So.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I remember you had said that there was a chance that they might push back more than we might expect the Parks Commission to push back on tree preservation. So
Yep.
I went in with that expectation, and it was still, part of, I think, what made it difficult. We were an hour and 30 minutes in by the time we got to my point, and it was the second point on their new business. So I think there was maybe a little bit of a fatigue by that time, where
Sure.
looking at the agenda, I don't know how long they stuck around, because once I said my piece, I had to go, and
Sure.
looked like another hour and a half left of material to discuss. So I could see that also being a little bit just talking about our goals that we have set forth without any actual decisions maybe wasn't Mark's priority at that time. So
Sure.
but what I didn't get, and my last words to them were, please, please, please read through this and let me know if you have any comments. I would love to bring back more feedback to the tree advisory committee, and I really did not get any detailed feedback besides like I said, well, we don't need anything at all, and doesn't what we have already do all this? So
Yeah.
not exactly the most productive feedback there either, but hopefully, I did kind of leave with that plea, so maybe somebody will read through it.
Maybe some of the people that were a little more positive in their reception, if you know their names, they might be people, you or a few of us could talk to, because they sort of know the tone of the group, and we could maybe, when they're not in the middle of a 3-hour meeting, have time to spend 20 minutes and have a conversation about their thoughts of what are weaknesses, what they would expect that the group would want to respond to, or what they think would work or not work or whatever. We might be able to get something maybe a little more productive that way. If you kind of know the people that were sort of, receptive or seemed a little more open, they would, maybe kind of befriending them and getting some input might be more useful.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And I don't have it super handy, but I've got some names written down of I tried to take as many notes as possible, because I knew I was going to come back to Tree Advisory Committee and have all this. So, I think the things that I identified that we could, and part of this was on me for not being able to quite articulate it, well, as overcoming the, why doesn't what we already have work hurdle, I think is something that I'm pretty confident we have a good answer to that. And I'm also confident that what I said during the meeting wasn't the best answer to that. So, I did my best, but I certainly wasn't quite prepared for as much of that as maybe I should have been. So there is that I think is kind of I don't want to say easy hurdle, but it's at least very well defined of, we can get a better idea of, okay, here's exactly how it works now, and here's all the optional things we could do, and then here's what we're trying to do. So I think that would be an easy one, but we could also, especially if we wanted to just bring them into the next meeting, we could try and get some people to come back, because I know it was Susan, I believe, who who's sat in on our meeting last time, who had a lot of really good positive thoughts during that meeting. So I feel like getting more of that would be helpful.
Good.
Maybe it would be helpful too with, why is it not working? Maybe Anna would be able to provide some examples of, something concrete, situations where it would have been simple to do something differently and a certain set of trees would have been preserved, and why that would have been nice, visually, aesthetically, or, just tree canopy wise, and it wouldn't have been a big burden for the developer or whomever. Maybe if we had some examples and maybe pictures with them, maybe that would be something useful to kind of show this is where we are, and if we had this little piece of a process or whatever, or you knew these kind of guidance or rules or ordinance, then this wouldn't have happened, and we would have had these trees, and it would have been, not burdensome or whatever. So if maybe we could provide some examples, maybe that would work a little bit. Kind of with the developers sort of seeing it as not like overly complex, and people to see some concrete examples of simple wins.
Yeah, I mean, part of the problem is that, land that's developed is primarily private property. So it's a little, it's really, that's document. And I think, if we did put an example like that out there, whoever was the case study might feel a little targeted.
That's a fair point. I will, the developer who's part of the Parks Commission and who is pretty negative on it, one thing that he said a few times, which was, I didn't even have to jump in and kind of explain the differences. He said, well, every development I've been on, we've planted more trees than we've taken out. And somebody else kind of interrupted him and said, it doesn't matter if you plant twice as many if they're, 5-year-old oaks that you're planting and you took out 100-year-old oaks. It's not the equivalent. There's no way to replace old trees quickly. So, I think one comment, actually, this is a good point. One suggestion that was brought up is the more we can include in our final product, some sort of like a rationale for like why we need to formalize this more than, and I think our goals kind of do a good job of that right now. So I don't think it's terribly confusing, but at the same time, it's useful.
That's why I put together the document I sent you guys today, the purpose and intent document, because I think if we had that kind of as a preamble, so to speak, it would explain kind of what we're trying to do a little bit better, and then just right out of the gate, kind of get everyone on the same page. Because Sue did tell me that same thing, Sue yesterday from Parks Commission, said, it'd be helpful to frame the, basically what she said in a nutshell is it would be helpful to frame the conversation. And so that's kind of what I was trying to do. So I put that together. It's just a draft.
And I think that was Sue's comment from the meeting as well. So it sounds like.
Yeah, because she talked to me afterwards and just said, hey, so that's why I put that together and emailed it out to everyone. And obviously we'll have to discuss it at the next meeting, but that was, I thought that was good feedback and something that we should have probably had on the goals and objectives outlined. I just didn't think we were quite that far along yet, but maybe we are.
Yeah, I think one of the lessons that I took away was that, even if I thought they might appreciate having it brought to them at an earlier stage, I think having these kind of more specific intent and purpose kind of part makes sense to bring it to anybody else, just because it apparently was confusing, even with what I thought was pretty well thought through. So having it be just very clear of here's what we want it to apply to. Yeah, and I wish we could kind of talk about and finalize this text document today, but. Do you have a sense, or does anybody know, like, I'm thinking about document management and kind of keeping this as I think we want to probably ultimately add this intent and purpose and application to our goals and scope, and kind of have one document that's
Right.
the whole thing, so that we have it kind of in an easier to digest format. And I think that's not too hard to do, but also I'm sure, I could just do it in a Word document, but I don't know if there's like a special place that I should be trying to retain these things, or if maybe, what I can do, Anna, is come to our next one with those points you had added, kind of included into a document, and we can just discuss the overall document again as a group, and then
Yeah, that would be fine as long as it's in the packet, that's not a big deal.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, and the only reason I bring that up is just because I like having it. I think it'll be easier to have it in one place, ultimately. So
yeah, no, you're probably right. So, well, I don't know if it really makes a lot of sense to talk about this any further, because we'll just be saying the same thing again at our next meeting, which is, I believe, in May. I think we have a meeting in May, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if people want to keep talking, or if we just want to, adjourn the meeting, or how people are feeling.
yeah, I mean, I think we've given it about 30 minutes. It doesn't seem like anybody else is gonna make it to hit us to quorum, and I think you're right that once we have quorum and Gabriella, we'll have to rehash basically anything else we get to.
So I'll ask Scott, just the process of not having a quorum. We couldn't vote on the tree planting situation. So I hope that doesn't hold it up, and it can just continue through the process. So we'll have to see.
If there is a, I know I don't know if we do this in Fitchburg government or not, actually, but sometimes there's the ability to do like a digit, or like send it around and everybody then confirms that way. We could probably get a quorum to vote on and approve the
Sign off on something.
Yeah, we could agree to that bid as a committee digitally, if there is any way to do that, and I'd be happy to, like, if we have to ask the committee weigh in and say, hey, we discussed this, but we didn't have quorum, here's what we discussed, and we think we should approve this this plan or whatever. So if you find out anything like that, that would be helpful. Let us know. I mean, I don't want to add busy work to anybody, but if it's something that will make your life easier, to not have to worry about getting this approved, then I think that should be fine for us if there's a mechanism for it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll ask. I mean, we'll only go that route if we. I think that, but I'll just see kind of how it goes, because I know council makes the final decision, and everything is advises the council. I don't know, and this is such a straightforward thing. I don't know that it's really that key to have this vote or not. I mean, it's not. There's nothing. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So we'll see. I don't know, but yeah, thank you for offering. We'll see how it shakes out.
Well, sorry we couldn't get a bigger group together for you.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. And hopefully in May we'll have our, the mayor did appoint, to fill the opening. So in May we'll have another person on the committee, and we'll see how that goes. So, so there we go.
All right. Well, have a good month, everybody, I guess. We'll talk again in May.
Sounds great. Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.